So before you fall asleep, let's talk about why I was telling you guys about atoms and the charges that make them up. So remember that in the very beginning, we were talking about electricity and what electricity was. And we said that electricity was a flow of electric charge. So when we were saying electricity was the flow of electric charge, we're referring to the negative charges or the electrons flowing between atom to atom. It is important to know that not all materials have atoms that are good for transferring electricity. In that same science or physics class, you were probably told about two different types of materials. You have your insulators and your conductors. Insulators are materials that are not good for transferring electricity. Conductors are good for transferring electricity. This is mainly because of how the atoms are structured within each material. So within an insulator, the electric force that is attracting the protons and the electrons is very strong. So these electrons tend to orbit this nucleus or these protons very tightly. They follow a very strict pattern around this nucleus. But in a conductor, the electric force is very weak between these protons and electrons. So that means that the most outer electrons of each atom, called the valence electrons, are able to move around or very freely orbit the nucleus of these atoms. It just takes a really small push or force to be applied to these electrons, and they will move to a different atom. To better understand the concept of insulators and conductors, I came up with a little bit of an analogy. So let's imagine that your parents are the protons and neutrons of an atom, and you as a kid are the electrons of an atom. So whenever you were little, think back, at some point in time your parents took you to some kind of family event, some quinceañera. You probably showed up to the comida, because let's be realistic, your parents probably, as Hispanics or Latinos, you guys did not show up to the misa or to the church part of the event. So you show up to eat. You show up to the comida and you're with your parents. At the beginning of the night, your parents are kind of acting like insulators. So they are very strict with you. They're watching exactly what you do, your every move. They don't want you to do anything to embarrass the family, So you're here acting like an insulator at the beginning of the night, or temprano. And then at the end of the night, it's like 12:30, maybe 1 o'clock in the morning. Your dad's maybe had a little bit of alcohol, a little bit of tequila. Your parents are out having a good time, dancing. And all of a sudden, all you see is a bunch of kids just doing whatever they want. They are running around, running in and out of the building. And your parents are just having the time of their life. So at that point in time, en la tarde, your parents become conductors. So this should help you a little bit, understand understand more the concept of what a conductor and insulator is.